Let's explore some of the ways you can check for misconfigured or poorly deployed applications in your Kubernetes cluster using the Coralogix Kubernetes monitoring dashboard. Now, the really easy stuff to spot is around cluster CPU utilization and memory. So if you're underutilizing your resources, that's a cost optimization problem right there. You're spending money on resources that are not being used. You can see the total usage, requests, and limits, and you can see if your requests are constantly low. And by the way, you can change the time frame, so you can look for longer time frames to understand how your resources are being used over a different period of time. Then you can look at nodes by region. So if you have a multi-region cluster, you can better understand how you're balancing across regions to make sure that you have true failover capability, not just the illusion you have one node in US East 1 and one node and 10 nodes in US East 2. A failover to US East 1 will not work for you. Then we have node versions. This is really nice because it will help you to understand whether you have multiple different versions of your kubelet running on the different nodes. This is really important because different API versions can cause unpredictable and strange errors, especially if there are cross-breaking changes, especially. Then down here, this is really, really nice. So you can have different pod quality of services. Now, pod quality of service is all about whether you've declared the requests and the limits that the pod needs to actually run. And what we do is we break down. So most of the pods on the cluster are defined as burstable, which means that they have a request and they'll burst up to the available amount. And then we have best effort. Best effort essentially means there's been no declaration of requests or limits. We have no idea how much these pods need. And this is generally a bad idea. You generally don't want to run best effort pods almost ever. So this right here is an action list for you to go and fix. So you can immediately see that people are deploying pods in a way that does not protect the resources of the node. That's essential. Same thing with status here. You can see if any pods have been failing. Down here, we can look for CPU intensive apps, memory intensive apps, and the nodes that are using most of the resources as well. Now, why is this important? So you need to know which of your applications are consuming the most resources. And we can have a look at an example here. So we can see Prometheus is using by far the most memory on the cluster, 1.4 gigabytes. The next one down is 390 megabytes. So right there, we get an instant visualization of what our applications are doing. And if we can see applications that are using more memory than they should, perhaps they're implemented poorly, or perhaps they're just not deployed in the right way, they're on container type, who knows? But all of this visibility is available just in this view, just in this one place. You don't even have to go into the nodes and pods view where you can get even deeper into these insights. And you can see really clearly what's working and what's not in your cluster, what's been deployed well and what's been deployed badly. And that view as an SRE and as a DevOps manager, as a platform engineer, all of this will make it so easy for you to go to tenant teams and say, hey, you should probably not have this as best effort. You should probably not have this application consuming so much memory. You should probably stop setting limits so high when you're never going to use them. So really, really powerful. Strongly recommend you become very, very familiar with this board. It's useful for rolling deployments. It's useful for ongoing operational improvements. It's great for performance testing even. Everything can be done through this board. And then when you need the details, you can explore them as you like, as you dig in for. You can click on any of the values that you see in the dashboard, and it will take you to the relevant place in the Kubernetes monitoring where you can see exactly what's happening.